So what brings Donna and I here today? So a couple, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, we were having an Empower Hour, and it was getting kind of rowdy, and Brian Leverett was like, we need somebody to come up here and talk about Allied Resources, and everybody in the room immediately turned around and looked at me. And so here's the deal. We spent years on the Zillow bandwagon.
We did.
Like, there were some months it was 15 grand a month. Yeah, I was that guy. That's nothing compared to like what Del Hoon spends, and like that's a drop in the bucket. But on a slow month, you know, if we were in between contracts, we were moving from Zillow to Realtor to Commissions Inc. and boom, tabla. I mean, it was always $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. And once the market got really diluted, and everybody knows what I'm talking about who's been in real estate at least since 2015, when Zillow started doubling prices and doubled down on the number of leads and things like that, it just got crazy. So Donna and I decided about 2016, we're done. Most of our business was coming from our SOI anyways. And so we slowly started running all of our contracts out. And how long have we been heroin free from the Zillow?
It's been a couple years.
More than a couple years now.
Yeah. We were addicted to the leads coming in. We felt like we had to have the constant thing.
I call it heroin.
He does. He's like, we're going to cut the head off the snake. We're just going to do this. And, you know, going to a lot of these just conferences, you know, the realtor conferences in Missouri and even, you know, throughout the country, and really just hearing from, you know, it seemed like every roundtable discussion or every speaker that I sat in front of, no matter what state we were in, was like, your business is going to come from your SOI. Yeah. Your best business, you know, the one that's the most sticky, the one that you're going to love doing, the one that's going to be continuous is going to come from your SOI all day long. And it was hard to really, you know, to hear it and to hear it and hear it, but to say, okay, we can do this, and we're going to make a plan and make that happen for us, right? It's kind of a little bit of a leap of faith. We're going to rely on our family and our friends and everybody to help get us through, right? So, yeah, we made that leap.
I mean, it actually, I think in hindsight, just on really kind of an emotional level, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I didn't even really feel the transition. I certainly didn't feel any loss because my P&L went up.
Right.
So my revenue dropped, but my P&L went up because I wasn't writing monster checks every month.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. Who's on the Zillow morphine drip? Go ahead. Don't be shy. Don't be ashamed. We've done it before.
Right.
On some other drip.
Good.
No.
Me?
No, you're looking at me intently.
I'm listening.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Allied Resources. One of the primary reasons that I came to Keller Williams almost 2 years ago now was to figure out the MREA and, you know, the Keller Williams Red Bible. And I put together my first 33 touch. It was fully executed last year. And it worked really well. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So what is an allied resource? So we're going to do what every college professor says not to do. Webster's dictionary defines allied as in combination or working with, and resource is an action or strategy. So we're going to spend a few minutes here to talk about what are your allied resources.
Who and what are your allied resources? So where does your business come from?
Fire away.
Oh, you're asking.
This is going to be very interactive
Facebook?
today, and we're going to have a little exercise that you guys are going to be working on.
Okay, no purple.
Purple's out.
Purple is out. Blue? That was no tip at all. All right, Facebook.
Okay. Fire, just fire.
Family, friends. Keep them coming.
The 3 F's. Facebook, family, friends.
Past clients.
Past clients is huge.
Huge, huge, huge.
What about the classic question, kind of like in St. Louis, we ask where'd you go to high school, but in real estate we ask what did you do before real estate? So what about your previous coworkers? That's been 15 or 16 years ago for me. I still get business from that.
Me too. Definitely.
Yeah.
What else? Does anybody have a kid?
Yeah.
Where do they go to school? What sports do they play? Right? So, kids' sports,
All right, so I want to ask, who actually does the
school.
cooler full of Capri Sun cakes and
Yeah.
these sports events and
I get too old.
yeah. Like, look, guys, I'm a dude, and I still do it.
Do you?
I'm the dude that does it.
They all annoy me, so I try and sit by myself.
I love it.
I always, every time I do that, I'm like, I should really be like talking to these people, but I just don't like them.
Well, okay, so you know
So
what?
there are exceptions to the rule.
But also to that point, the whole point of the exercise we're going through is to find the people and the things that you do like and make those things work for you. So that's okay. Like, that's exactly the fun part of doing this, is we kind of get to pick and choose what we're going to do and who we're doing it with. So I love that you said that, actually. My daughter played select softball forever. My ex-husband was the coach, so like he was there anyway. I was the mom that would get there, and like she played at Afton, so I'd run the trail and then come back, and like I missed everything. The moms would be like, I can't believe she doesn't stay here and watch this, you know. But I'm just kind of like, I'm not a sit-still person, so I get ya. Yeah. What else? Does anybody do mailers? Phone calls. Nobody said phone calls. Phone calls. Do we get business from phone calls if we make them? Yeah. Mailers. Two-prong, right? EDDM. And as Rob always kind of says, fishing with a net or fishing with a spear, right? So some that are very specific mailers and others that are EDDMs.
Let's talk about family again. So there are different types of families. My gym family is very important to me because I'm sort of a fitness nut, and so
Sort of,
just a little.
Sort of.
And so I do spend quite a bit of time with my gym family, like texting with them and memes and jokes and closed Facebook groups and just silly stuff like that, and outside of when I see them actually in the gym. Is anybody else like that, maybe with your men's group, your women's group, your sports team, church group, choir?
Book group.
Who's in a closed Facebook group? Well, guess what? You've got an SOI. In that group, you've got an SOI, unless it's like a closed Facebook group of realtors, like Lab Coat. Then not so much. Not as much, anyways. Okay?
Neighbors. Who works their neighborhood? Oh.
Does everybody hate
I know,
you, or do you hate everybody?
I
You seem so likable.
Boy, everyone hates me.
No, they don't.
Well, so you get them to shovel snow and cut grass, and that's how they make up for it.
You had met, I guess, so like organizations that we're a part of.
Yeah. Civic organizations, networking groups, ICAG, BNI, Rotary, Lions Club, etc.
Charities.
Okay, so let's talk
Networking
about
groups.
charities, because that one's important to us. Why don't you talk about Angel Arms?
I love
Charities.
talking about Angel Arms.
So we were asked to be here to talk about our specific examples, and one of those that's very specific to us are charities,
Yeah.
because that's just our thing.
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Angel's Arms, but we provide foster homes and help foster families and foster kids in the St. Louis area. So this is our 20th year anniversary, which is pretty exciting, 20 years in 2020. I've been on their board for 16 years. And when I do charity and volunteer work, I'm not the huge poster on Facebook. I'm not. So I don't put a lot out there. When I do, it's usually cute pictures of the kids or something like that. I have trouble bragging about myself on there, so even though I did really well in my office, you'll probably never see it on my Facebook. And you'll never see my charity work on my Facebook. I do charity
Well, that's
for
because I'm
charity.
your biggest fan. And that's what your Allied Resources are about. It's your biggest
Is
fans.
promoting you for you. That's true. So with Angel's Arms, I've been involved with them for 16 years. I'm actually on the board with the Advocacy for the Aging in Arnold. I've done so many things with Friends of Kids with Cancer and all those kind of things. That's where my heart lies, just in helping people in general and kids and those that can't help themselves, right? So I do a lot of that kind of stuff. For me, I do it strictly for charity is charity. It's not a promotional thing for me. But it does create opportunities for you. So I'm never, ever, ever at a board meeting or a charity event saying, hey, and by the way, I'm USA Mortgage. They know who I am because my name is there. And when you get to know people, you know what they do just by, being friendly and getting to know people. And those kind of things naturally happen a lot of times. So for me with my charities, I don't promote myself as a business. I promote myself as a good person because that's why I do it. And it does. It builds friends and it builds followers and people that just want to help you because you help others. And that's what I love about it, is that it all just comes from the right spot.
Who actively participates in a specific charity? Tell us about it.
So it's there's a couple. I'll talk about one. It's Adult and Teen Challenge. It's a residential drug care addiction recovery center, and so they have both a men's and a women's center, and they work with a lot of churches primarily and some other civic groups, and they take in people who are suffering from addiction. Usually a lot of them come out of the court system. People have an option to either go to jail or to go to this program, and they take them through basically a 6 or a 9 month process, not just detoxing, but trying to address what is your addiction coming from? What's the stemming from? Not just cutting it off, but trying to help the person understand and address the root issue. Which is why I like that. That's one of the reasons why I like that.
So how can you use your participation at whatever level it is for your real estate business, and to do it with class?
Yes.
Right, not just vomiting how great you are, how great whatever. So there's an algorithm there, and it's hard to figure out. Have you thought about how to leverage that?
So I'm still new to the business, so I have not. I have thought about being a sponsor at their annual gala.
Yeah.
Huge.
That's exactly a great soft
become a part
way to
of,
do it.
Some of their different boards they have, advisory boards, that kind of thing. I haven't put much thought into it, so I would welcome it.
I think what you just said is your exact starting point, John. I mean, it just is, because you're right. I mean, when you have your business name there and they associate your business name with you, and it's very soft, but it's like, it's also giving a message that you support this group at the personal and business level.
Sure.
So I mean, it even shows more support, and that you're tied to it even deeper, and it gets your name out there without being,
Too showy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think of it as with them and some other people, these are my people. This is my tribe, right?
Yeah.
We have interests.
I love that expression.
We are we're aligned in ways that are not necessarily for the purpose of business, and those people want to make a difference, right? That's my people.
Yep.
So raise your hand. We're going to go off script here. Imagine that.
Uh-oh.
Raise your hand if you are an extrovert.
You're what?
Extrovert.
An extrovert.
You're very
You're-
outgoing. You
you're
can
me.
talk to everybody. You're
Here I am, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Okay, raise your hand if you're an introvert.
I'm kind of like in the middle.
I'm bold.
You're an introvert.
Depends on the
Oh,
day.
No, you are.
So you're
not.
indecisive.
Jen
I'm
is a
introvert.
Jen is a
All right, raise it
chameleon.
again,
Jen is a
extrovert.
chameleon,
I am.
Okay.
right? You mix
So-
in well.
Really, is it?
It takes a lot of my effort to be outgoing.
I've always heard it defined as an extrovert gets energy from conversation and an introvert loses it. Like an introvert can turn it on and be Rob Shanks for 5 minutes,
And
but
then
at
I
the end of
get
that 5 minutes, they
frustrated.
gotta go sleep.
That's
Oh, yeah,
So, like,
you-
that's-
There is such a thing as behavior modification.
Yeah.
For sure.
That includes
So whether it comes to you naturally or
Yeah,
you have
including,
to.
drugs.
Yeah.
A cocktail
Well, there's
before you get
that
up to speed.
too.
So the reason I bring that up is because I have had people come to me, just realtors mostly through the years, and have said, "Oh, I could never stand up and do this," or "I could never stand up in front of a room of a couple thousand people," or whatever. And you don't have to. You know, you don't have to present at the awards banquet. You can be a table sponsor. Most table sponsorships for gala events and things like that are going to be certainly under $1,000, but most of them are going to be like $250 for a table of 10. So you get 10 of your best friends, which, you know, let's say, not to be unfair, but like that's only 5 couples.
Yeah.
So 5 of your greatest couples, and guess what? That is your inner circle. So as you look at the next section here where we talk about how do you identify your allied resources, my top 3 allied resources are my past clients, my inner circle, and then I have what I call my next ring on the circle. And my inner circle, like I could literally do nothing except cater to 20 people every year, and
And
my
still
real
get
estate
pretty good
business would
business.
be just fine. You know, if I, because right, we always have the lucky ones, right? That referral we weren't expected, or maybe from another agent from out of town, and you know, so that's going to make up your 20%. But I would say 80% of my business falls in the hands of these 20 people. And so I'll give you a good example of what I do with with my 20 people. Last summer, I took some to the lake. And by the way, I borrowed the condo. I didn't even pay for it.
That's true.
Actually, from another agent. I got lucky. This weekend is the Broadway musical of Rent, which is a phenomenal musical if you're into Broadway plays. And I bought 2 tickets for Mike and Stephanie Floretta,
Nice.
and just gave it to them. So sometimes it's gifts, sometimes it's act of service. 5 love languages. Did anybody just pick up on what I just said? Yes? Okay. So you just have to know how to reach out to those 20 people that are in your inner circle. So we're going to do a small exercise here. How does your allied resources list rank? So using...
Well, we have to have them list theirs first.
Yeah, so, yeah, go
That's
for
why
it.
I made the worksheet. Step 1
She's taking
to
over
keep
from here.
to keep him
Whatever.
on track as well. No, so on your worksheet, step 1 is to identify the list of your allied resources below on the left side. So right by the stars here, allied resources. Where does your business come from? So it's some of these. It's some of your, wherever
Specific names, or we went just
groupings
It's
probably.
Really it's more like
Grouping?
groups. So, for
Yeah.
example, past clients for me is huge.
Yeah.
It's number 1. Or I think I said it's number 1.
Yeah.
There it is.
Past clients, people from my networking group, people from my book club.
And by the way, if you're brand new to real estate, past clients can still be your number 1. It's just that those past clients may not be in real estate. They may be from your previous work.
Yeah. So if you're new, think of your biggest cheerleaders. They haven't been your best customers yet. Think of your biggest cheerleaders. Who are the ones that are willing to and want to help promote you?
So fill some of those out. It's on the other. It's on. I guess I could hold it. It's on this side.
Yeah.
And
now to what you were saying. So write down your list.
does
Again, the
anybody have
things
any
that-
that are unique? And by the way, you can write Zillow and Realtor.com and
You can.
and
If you use it.
BuyLocal and Boomtown and like all of the online internet lead generation things. They absolutely do count for the math that we're going to be doing down here, but we're primarily focused on today is how to use your SOI. But yes, include it all. Does anybody have anything really unique?
Just open. I mean, just something that's not up there.
Anybody
Yeah.
in the Lego club?
Unique that,
No,
open
they don't.
houses,
Oh,
Ooh.
that's definitely.
quite a few.
You know, the open house conversation
What was
has
that?
been real quiet the last
Advertising.
couple years.
Paid advertising.
Because you list
Yeah.
yourself. Right? There's really no right. But I don't know. That's honestly the people that are really good at it. It's probably an even bigger opportunity. I had an open house last Sunday on the most expensive home that's ever sold in the subdivision, and I couldn't keep up.
I'm gonna add door knockers. Door knocking.
Does anybody do door knocking anymore? I did it for 3 years.
I threatened to.
Did you?
I threatened to a lot.
Yeah.
Leslie shaking her mind.
Never made it.
I find my newer realtors are definitely wanting to do the door knocking just because they don't have the deep base of past clients. And so, you know, what is it, that 10 by 10 rule in Keller Williams to, you know, knock your open house or your, yeah.
Starting tomorrow.
There you go, Jen.
Does anybody know Lauren Risley?
That's a great paper to read.
Lauren Risley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
She's a door hanger.
She's big in like Central West End. And
Yeah,
does
she's
a
not
lot of-
hurting. She's a phenomenal realtor.
Oh, Lauren. Yeah.
Yeah. I met her through you.
I know you did.
At
That's why I was like, wait a
WCR.
minute. Yep.
Yeah, a long time
Yeah.
ago.
Okay. So we got your list.
Has everybody got their list? Tell us what you got.
Facebook has been huge for me.
How
Awesome.
so?
Just people I went to high school with and family
Mhm.
friends, just people that come out of the woodwork that you would never
So
probably
these are
That you don't
actual-
see on a regular basis, but they're
so they're
seeing your
actual
posts.
connections, not Facebook.
Not Facebook
ads.
advertising.
Right, I don't know.
Okay.
My next one, biggest one is past clients.
hmm
My next biggest one this past couple years has been family friends. I don't have a lot of family here. They're from other places, so our family friends that we've acquired have been big.
Cool.
Sure. Anybody else want to share their list? Anything different?
Just like advertising listings like on Facebook and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, your new listings and stuff.
Is that what you have? Is Facebook? What else do you have?
Basically that, past clients, friends, family, those are the big ones.
Okay.
So I had Facebook Live. I've moved
Oh.
like 7 times in my life, so I'm one of those people that has like one friend in every city that I've lived in.
Yeah.
But I've never lived in a place, you know, in the last 7 years long enough to build like a large tribe where I've been. So I found that when I first got into real estate and for about the first 2 years, I did a Facebook Live for every open house that I did. I used to do Facebook Lives for stuff like that. I think now it's just video in general, right? Facebook
Yeah.
Live was just the easiest way to do a video 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
But when I was doing that at my peak, I was doing one out-of-state referral a month, pretty much. Like
Wow.
somebody that I went to college with that lived in Indiana was like, "Hey, how do I get started?" Cool, let me connect you to a realtor.
Yeah.
So video primarily, and then I'm a part of the Jewish Federation here, and there's a large like young professional organization there. So that's been really helpful to find, you know, just 25, 35-year-old working adults, which is kind of
Okay.
my
Nice.
key demo.
All right.
So on the blank line,
Here, let's have you rank them first. So go through the ones that you wrote. So if you got a bunch of them, let's find your top 3. So you guys probably don't have all of this out there, but if I did, this would be way too many to really do a good strategy marketing plan on. So let's identify your top 3 from what you wrote down. The others are still going to be there. They're still your sources, but identify top 3. And then,
next to that, so imagine there's another line there. How many transactions
There is
do you
another line
think
there.
you?
there is another line there. I wrote it.
Well, I don't have my glasses.
You can imagine, and it will be so.
Imagine or forecast how many transactions you think you can get in 2020 from that particular source, from that allied resource.
So like if you've had one steady from out of town every single year or every single month, that's a number that you can kind of bank on, plan on,
So,
anticipate.
right, for past client, can you break it down by? Yeah, so just do that.
Or are you running a goal? I didn't know what you
A forecast for this year.
Yeah.
So if you're going to try, like my goal is to do 25% more this year than I did last year.
So how many
overall.
would you like to get from that source this year? So if Facebook has been giving you 6 and you think you can work that better, maybe you get 10 this year. So an anticipated number that you think you can get from that resource this year. And then once you have your numbers, we're going to do the math. So we're going to take that number all the way down to the bottom and total it. And then we're going to totally do the Keller Williams thing, right?
Gotta get
Because we're doing a sales
Kellerized.
funnel, right? So now we got the number of deals that we're expecting to come from our different sources. We're going to take our average volume. So what's your average deal? Is it 200?
Who knows
Is it
your average sale
250?
price? Everybody should know their average sale price.
Ish, 180,
If you don't
190,
know,
200.
use 200.
Yeah, I think the average.
Oh, I know.
It's like 187 across all of St. Louis or something like that, 180 something.
That's why I was saying 180, 190,
Yeah,
200,
it's
because that's
something.
pretty much where
So total
I do a lot of business in this area
transactions
too.
times your average sale price should equal your total volume.
2.7 or what?
I can actually see from up here.
Yeah.
So your average sell price. So take that number times that number, and that should give you your total volume. Or
And
you,
then
you
want
must
me
be
to
better
do-
at math than
Then you want me to do 2.7?
Yeah, well, I would do whatever your average is. So my average, I'm about 50-50 list versus sell.
So you're
I
closer to
always
3.
use 3%.
Yeah, but if you're heavier on the purchase side, use 2.7, so your number's a little bit more accurate to your business.
So everybody got their number? Joe, you look confident.
Yeah.
You ready to share?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I was supposed to do all my other avenues, but just like for Allied Resources, I used, with what's left in the year, about 6 in like Facebook video, just kind of outside referrals and/or local closings. I did 6 of those. I think I could probably get 3 from the Federation this year.
Who's the Federation?
Jewish
The
Federation.
Jewish Federation
Oh,
you talked about.
Particularly like young adults. There's a young adult professional organization.
Okay.
And then 4 to 5 from family referrals and down, and also neighbors. I know I have a couple neighbors that are.
So what is your, when you take that times your average sale price, what's the total volume?
Total volume 180,000 times 13. I don't have that number, but the average commission of 2.7, assuming that I always do these numbers as conservative as possible. Let's assume they're all buyers. That would be $63,180.
So GCI of 63. Okay? What'd you come up with?
199.2.
That's pretty good. Totally realistic, by the way.
Yeah.
Totally realistic.
So we've got,
That's pretty close to what my numbers look like.
so we have our who, we have our numbers. Now we want to talk about our how, right? How are we going to get there? So these are the people we get business from. How do we get business from them? So our next activity.
Okay, so this gets in line with like a 33 touch program.
Yes.
And my 33 touch program this year is a hybrid of last year, and it's much more focused. I'm doing less, as Donna would say, casting less nets and doing more spear fishing. So I'm much more focused now on specifically my Allied Resources. So next to the asterisks, did you see right here? If you will write what you forecast for 2020, your year of perfect vision, what your activities are going to be. Don't worry about who your Allied Resources are right now. Just worry about what the activities are going to be, and then we're going to help you line them up.
So these are, what are we doing?
So what
are we doing?
So Bill Dry, open house. That's a big one for you over here. So open house is going to be next to an asterisk. If you live in a subdivision, which a lot of us do, I do a couple subdivision events a year, one of which is a garage sale coming up.
Yeah.
And
I
so that's a good one.
I get together with all of my realtors at least once a year to put together a marketing plan. And one of the biggest things that I promote all the time, if you are in a subdivision, that's like gold. Like, own your home turf, right? It's truly the home field advantage. So I'm pretty heavy on that one with like subdivision sales, Christmas light contests, like
Okay, tell
barbecues.
me about the Christmas lights.
Oh,
It's
it's
pretty
just,
good.
it's fun. But so just kind of sitting down, right, like we do, like we're doing right now, brainstorming ideas on how do we really, get the most out of you living in your subdivision and marketing to your neighbors. And I was asking the one realtor, what's your subdivision big in? And one of the things that she had said is she's like, oh my God, they love Christmas. Like everybody in the subdivision decorates for Christmas. Huge. I mean, blow ups everywhere and all that. And I'm like, well, what if we put a contest around that? What if we sponsor on the Facebook page, the Chris Casey Realty Group, Chris Casey with Keller Williams, and she lives in the Oaks, right? So one of her neighbors is a good friend of ours who is a mover who also lives in the Oaks. So pulling together some partners, who are you using for home warranty? Who are you using for your title company? We each pitched in $50, so super, super cheap. $50 a piece for all of us. We gave away a $100 gift card to the top prize, and then like a $50 and a $25. We bought Christmas ornaments, and we basically door knocked the subdivision during Christmas, and everybody loved us. And they didn't see it as door knocking, they didn't see it as salesy. We put it all over the Facebook group, right? Hey, everybody loves Christmas in the subdivision. Let's go Griswold. It was literally like I titled as that. Let's go Griswold. And it was like we're gonna reward everybody. Let's really have a contest out of it. We're gonna give awards. We'll be around on this date doing the judging. And it was like 3 days before Christmas, and we're door knocking the subdivision. We did ornaments that were like super cheap. They were like $2 ornaments at Walmart. I got one that had something that we could write on the back of it, so we did these on ours too. Bought a white paint pen. My daughter sat down and wrote out like 100 ornaments. The Rob Shanks Home Team, 2020 or 2019, whatever,
And
with
how
a
long
phone
have we been
number.
doing that now?
Years.
Yeah.
Years. But
Every year.
we literally just went around the subdivision. We did the awards. People were just like shocked. Like I literally had a grown man crying because it was kind of his legacy that his dad used to over-decorate the house, and that was what he loved. And then he did it, and he was getting his son involved in that too. And like him and his son sat there and held the $100 gift card and, invited us into their home for a picture in front of their Christmas tree. But it was something they did as a family, and it really meant something to them that they won, that they were acknowledged for that. And the kid was just like, yes, but it was cool. And it made a mark, and it was fun to do. So we gave away our top 3 prizes. They got ornaments, and then we had like another 20 ornaments that we just said thanks for participating. We wanted, to say Merry Christmas. And we gave them an ornament, not a business card, but a $2 ornament that we split between 4 people. So our cost of $50 each was including the ornaments. I mean, it was just a really cheap, fun, easy way to get out and say Merry Christmas to your neighbors. And by the way, we're a real estate team, right? Like that wasn't the focus, but that's clearly who we were, and we were leaving behind a business card. So, just really catering things to how you work your group. I mean, that's what this is about. What are you doing? Events, go on in.
So I want to challenge each of you, next to this asterisk, write 5 activities for 2020.
That's a question about that.
Yeah.
So, I love the idea of frankly, I think it's genius, personally.
Why, thank you.
I'm very impressed by that. How do you measure success of that, or do you measure success of that? Is there a way that you can?
Right, how many deals have you gotten off your garage sale?
Okay, so that really is the question. And I'm sort of a numbers nerd, and I love stats, and I love to be able to add and subtract and figure out what came from what. And it's actually not that hard to do. And before I answer your question, I'm going to insert the fine print right here. There are some things that Donna and I do that we just agree as partners that what we're investing our time in and our money in, and even our vendors, this is a PR event. This is not an event where we're going to walk away with a 30, 60, 90 day or 6-month ROI. But what we know is those activities, like, has anybody been to my bat making booth? Nobody's seen that? Okay. So we make baseball bats. Like I have a team. We've got like NASCAR jerseys and T-shirts, and we have handouts. I've got a 20-foot booth. Like we're literally the biggest booth at Strawberry Festival and the Apple Butter.
Apple butter.
Apparently I can't pronounce today. And we sell the bats. We donate all the money to charity. So there's one of our charity hooks, and we don't measure an ROI on that. But what we know is that between that
On that particular event.
right, on that particular event. But what we do know is we do one quarterly community event. We do 4 quarterly community events per year. One of them is our Breakfast with Santa. I do have a VIP party, and let me tell you, my VIP party that we do, people keep coming. It keeps growing.
It's big.
It's big. It's fun. It's outdoor. Gourmet barbecue. I have a bartender. I have live music. Like that's my thing every year. That I can actually measure.
I'm actually going to answer your question to another level because I do. Rob's one of my super favorite realtors to market with, right? But I do marketing plans with all of my realtors, and I can tell you very specifically close business on those. So when I say like own your home turf, that's a big deal. Is anybody friends with Tabitha Dwally?
I know her.
You know her. Okay. Tell me somebody in that subdivision of Castle Heights that is not listed with her.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So like it truly, like if you talk to Tabitha, she closes probably a dozen deals a year, 1 a month from her own subdivision. So the other realtors that I have partnered with, we have had at least 1 or 2 in all of them. 1 or 2 is a pretty big deal, and it's continuing to grow because we just started these strategies maybe a year or 2 ago. So it's that continued presence of when we do the subdivision garage sale, like again, we're door knocking it, right? Like we're putting out the subdivision sale, we got people that are in the front and handing out guides, hey, these are the houses that are participating, here's your granola bar and your little water bottle, and there's balloons on all the houses. But then we're taking turns going around and literally, hey, thanks for participating, how's it going? You know, we're the ones that sponsored the garage sale today. We're with, you know, the Rob Shanks home team. We're getting our name out there again and again and again. And you really kind of get to be known as that neighborhood expert, right? We do posters and mailers and door hangers that say, you know, I'm not just a realtor, I'm your neighbor. I know these homes and I know how to sell them.
And also as a footnote, I started my subdivision's Facebook page, so
Yeah.
I own it, which means now again, how do you give yourself to your audience in the way that they want to receive you, not in the way that you want to vomit yourself on them. And so even though I own that Facebook page, I rarely post anything real estate. It's mostly community, like Seckman Jaguar, it's community events, if Detours is having karaoke, just stuff that people actually care about. And then every once in a while, I'll do some sort of shameless self-promotion. And even then, I make it very muted.
But I think the subdivisions are easy to track your return on investment because they're right there, right? You know if your neighbor, I mean, those are, the other ones you're kind of like, oh, where'd these people come from? Was it, you know, I drip on them all the time through mailings and phone calls and this and this and this, what got their attention? But your subdivision people, I think is one of the easiest ones to track. And it's just kind of staying out there as I'm the neighborhood expert. I live here, I know these homes, and yes, closed business. I think the best one that I've had has had like 3 loans closed, and they were close to $1 million because the homes in there were like $300,000, and that was in 1 year. And it's been continuous. So it's just kind of staying up on. Some of them do a barbecue. I've got one that is in a much pricier subdivision, and they actually do. It's only 20 houses, but they do a shrimp boil every year. And I'm just like, girl, how much does that cost for everybody, right? Because it's not that many people. It's only 20 houses. And I think the total cost for like all 20 people was like $2,000. And I'm like, okay, like 4 partners, we each pay $500, and we're in front of these people that own these $700,000 homes, and you're the neighbor saying, it's all me this year. My team's going to sponsor this, right? So I mean, if she sells one of those homes. So, but again, it's categorizing it to you and who you know and what your opportunities are that sometimes you just don't think about. She goes to it, but she's like, I never thought to sponsor it. I don't even really, she goes as a neighbor. Softly do it. So now, you're Catherine, then, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you did real estate. We're sponsored as your real estate team. Just putting your name with the business.
5. Who's got 5? Raise your hand.
So what are the activities that you're doing? Open houses, events.
We're going to be closing up here on this activity. So I want to hear 5. Just you can
5
come
or
up with
more.
as many as you want.
So like ours are on
Yeah,
here.
right here.
This one. Yeah, so like the ones that we do together on the other page, just for somebody. We do Breakfast with Santa. Some of my realtor teams deliver pies at Thanksgiving, right? So that's a customer touch. So pies, breakfast with Santa, a yearly VIP party, a barbecue, giving out Christmas ornaments, Christmas cards. Like if you do those, write those things down. So more than 5 if you're doing more, because we're going to kind of connect some of these dots, because some people you want to touch more than once a year. Direct mailers, garage sale event, BLD. Happy, we call that our Build Happy, BLD, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and happy hours, right? So Build Happy.
I'm a major BLD happy guy.
Eat with the
I
people you
BLD
love.
happy every single day. In fact, I've already done it today already.
Yeah, and if I could add a coffee Starbucks in there too, right? Just getting together with the business partners that you have, the networking partners that you have, and your cheerleaders, your top 20, just getting together for coffee and lunch and dinner and a happy hour is really valuable. It keeps you tied to them, and it's fun, right? Because they're your friends. They're the people to your point, Trina, is that right?
Sorry,
Yeah, to your point, it's the people that, no, you're totally fine, but it's the people that you want to be with, right? So you're calling the people, let's get together for coffee, let's get together for lunch. You're reminding them that you're a realtor, but more than anything, you're just getting together with the people that you know and want to hang out with anyway. Everybody got that
How many
list?
you got, Trina?
I interrupted her, now I feel bad.
2? Okay, give us your first 2.
Oh, God.
Hey, you sat in the front row. So.
Lesson learned. No.
Lesson learned. I love it, lesson learned.
Because
We're not blowing up watermelons, so.
Right. I do get a lot from Facebook, so I feel like I need to be more interactive personally with certain people on there, and then that could grow more.
Okay.
Do you have a specific plan in place for Facebook, or is it casual? Like, do you have a,
No,
like, every Tuesday I post, or every Wednesday I do a video, or?
That's too much for me.
Ah! It's scheduling your own success, though. You're saying it comes from there.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying you need to do.
Scheduling it? I just meant like, hey, your kid's cute, even if it's not. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, right, but no, but that's engagement.
You know
no,
what?
that's 100% engagement,
I
though.
don't know you very well.
You know.
I like you.
But and that's exactly what we're
Like,
talking
I
about,
love that
though.
level of honesty.
We're not talking about like it having to be a Facebook ad. We're not talking about you as a realtor. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's just engaging with your customers or your people you know.
Well, you
So
can do
saying
that really systematically. Like
Exactly.
On Facebook,
Yeah.
you can actually create a list of friends. So you can, if you go to a profile, you can add them to a list. You could have close family, acquaintances, whatever. And I know people, I've not done this, but I know people that have done that really systematically, and they basically say, here's my top 20. I look at their Facebook page every day.
yes, and they're
These
the
are
ones.
My past clients, I look at them every week.
Thank
Just add
you.
one.
Thank you. Because it's doing what you're already doing, but it's making it work towards your business too. And all you're saying are those same things. You're engaging with the people and keeping track of that. So you're managing your success, you're managing your numbers. But you're absolutely right. Oh my gosh, your baby's adorable. If you just hit a like, you become one of 20 million people that hit a like. But if you put a comment, people read it and at least like it or respond to it. And people love it when you love their kids or when you celebrate them or they look good that day or their kid did something awesome. Yeah, so we're talking about the same thing, but making it, you're
So it's
creating
just taking
engagement.
what you're doing and just doing it with intention.
Right, yeah.
What's your
Purpose.
second item?
Yeah.
I like that.
My second one is to do what you said and pick the top 20 of past clients or SOI. and
Yeah.
Personally cater to them.
And what are you going to do to cater to them?
Build happy.
I need to call them more for one.
Okay. So phone calls, write down phone calls. That's one of your activities.
Maybe if I know there's something in particular going on in their life or something that they like and I can pick up a small cheap gift and drop it off or something like that.
Popeyes. Y'all realtors love Popeyes. I thought everybody ate Popeyes chicken at first when I started in this. I'm like, man, I eat Popeyes all the time. And then I realized it was Popeye. Right? Like dropping off Popeye. Yeah, like total blonde moment because like I'm not kidding, that went on way too long in my head that everybody did Popeyes. I was like,
with an eye
I guess
patch
that's a
and
realtor thing. No, I thought like Popeyes chicken or something. I don't know. But like I would hear realtors talk about Popeyes all the time. And I'm like, well, okay. And then like I figured out it was
Went out and bought a bunch of Popeyes.
like, so I seriously was like, I don't know, like I
Stephanie, what do you
don't
got?
understand the realtor world sometimes.
We do mailers.
Yeah.
We do Christmas cards and ornaments.
Yes.
And then I do need to focus more on my top 20, same way. Maybe
Okay.
do
And what you
something
want to
like
put on your
soccer or
second
something.
column there, that really, we want that to be specific activities. So we want that to read. Everybody should have in their second column phone calls and mailers. Like that's what we're supposed to do, right? We want that on there.
Bill Dry, give us one.
Give us 3. It's Bill Dry.
So I need to really just start making more phone calls out to my sphere.
What will you say to them? I'm going to put you on the spot. Is that all right? So you're going to call. You got your 20 inner circle. You're going to call them and you're going to say what?
So I don't know. Haven't really given it a lot of consideration. Probably, hi, Rob. It's been a while since we've chatted. Just want to give you a call, see how life's treating you. I would probably not lead into it with, hi, this is Bill from Keller Williams. It would be more like, you ready to move? Dude, you fell off my
So,
radar. What's up?
Here's why I'm putting you on the spot on that specific thing. I suck at phone calls
Well, and it's
because I'm a person of intention. Like, I just can't. I know you. Our kids. I'm pretending here. Our kids go to school together. Maybe we're neighbors. Maybe we went to school. What? I just can't call you, Stephanie, and say, "How's it going?" Because
feels fake.
it just feels like somebody poured oil all over the conversation. It sucks. I suck at it.
I go
But
just
here's
the other side.
So call around.
Call and get very in your face with what I want.
It's annoying.
That's what I'm thinking.
well, and
So-
so
But that's his
I'm not good
Yeah,
at that
no,
either.
Why not?
Unless it's a business
think
call.
about, I think about the people I'm calling, right? Those 20 people, those are like
Yeah.
my really close
Yes.
friends.
Okay, I'm like you. I
can
call.
talk to you like shit. I'm calling you. I need real estate business.
Some of them, yeah.
I need real estate business today. Go find me some.
Your phone call,
Anybody who wants to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
depending on what your message is, so like
Yep.
straight up last year, like for a 6-month window when rates dropped by like 2% within like a 3-month period, I kid you not, I called every single customer I've ever done a loan for in the last like 3 years because that's where the opportunity was, and I couldn't wait to call them. I was so like, oh my God, this is Donna with USA Mortgage. I'm
That
so
was in
excited to call you.
July and
May.
August, right?
Yeah, right. Like
And
from
then,
May
like,
forward.
I didn't even. She wasn't even here.
Disappeared. I disappeared.
Like,
but
those 2 months of just hyper focus is why she got number 1.
but
I mean,
I was
besides
I was excited to call people, and I'm not like a super phone call
Because you
person.
have a reason to call. You have some
I had a specific reason to
call
call,
them, yeah.
and when so when I get excited, I talk, oh, you're an investor. And like, it's true, it's so bad. Like it becomes a squeal. Like I know that about myself. Like I had to calm myself down because when I called, like I didn't just make random phone calls. I looked up every one of their loans and looked at and pulled rates, and I knew I could save them a lot of money.
Yeah, and actually,
And I-
it happened immediately.
Yes,
My daughter.
yes,
Well,
yes.
She refinanced again with you?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just like, oh my God, I can't wait to call you. And they couldn't wait to talk to me because I'm like, seriously, even after the cost? I mean, some of these people, like, I'm not exaggerating numbers, were saving like $45,000 over the life of their loan. I couldn't wait to call them.
So
when
the
you
point
see
is-
your value, your phone call is like, oh my God, I can't wait to talk to you. And they can't wait to hear what you have to say.
If you choose to make that call, have a plan.
Yes.
And for me, that's the build happy, breakfast, lunch, dinner, happy hour. Because, we've all heard ourselves and others say we're better one-on-one. So I just get
So create the one-on-one.
It's an action sport, and I get belly to belly with them. And it just helps solidify the relationship. Joe had his hand up.
I mean, what I really like about this class, and thank you guys for doing this, is like, you and I, personality-wise, are different, right? Probably.
I didn't think so.
Not terribly, but like you're a high extrovert, and I'm an I'm a people pleaser, but I don't particularly like humans, right? So I have to like cross that boundary to like find relatable stuff. But what I like about this class is you're kind of saying like, if you're Zoogless and you call your buddy, right, that you went to high school with, and you just shit talk all day, you can call that person and say, yo, I need your business, like tell me who's selling. But Yours is basically saying, I don't want to grease the conversation, but I have a reason to call it. I can do a build happy. I follow them on Facebook, so I know their kid just broke their ankle, so I can show up to
Yep.
their house.
So have a reason.
With something. And so I think it's a neat class in that sense that you can take this and start to combine things together. Like, I get a lot of business from Facebook, but I also have wanted to do more charity, so how can I combine those two things? How can I make my charity more visible or whatever,
Absolutely.
you know?
So I love that you just said that, because our last exercise on here is connecting the dots.
Okay.
Exactly what you just said. How do we tie who we know and who we love and want to do business with how we're going to do it,
Yeah.
right? So, and everybody's is unique. I mean, that's the fun part, is we want you to figure out how is the best way for you to use your contacts in a way that you're comfortable, in a way that you enjoy, right?
And do it in a way that like reflects your personality, right?
Exactly.
TikTok was made for Mike Zuglis.
Same.
Yeah.
Nice,
I was
nice.
thinking about it last night. I was like, dude, this is like my platform too, because all I want to do is make myself laugh.
Yep.
I really don't care if it makes someone else laugh. I'm trying to make myself laugh, and maybe I should get on this thing just because
It's fun.
that
Ooh,
I,
let's all
I'm
do
not
it
an
together.
Instagram person, but I think TikTok would be funny.
Yeah,
So,
come on, Stephanie.
And
Let's do it.
Cre-
TikTok.
It'll help you be an extrovert.
but
I
creating
can see
groups
Stephanie.
around what, like Jen, I thought of you for sure with like your book club, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you did for a little bit, but like I think we started book clubs at the same time, and mine is still going.
My small group at church.
So like my book club has 5 people in it. One of them is closed on their loan with me like last week, right? And I didn't know who she was. She was not on my radar at all a year ago. We get together once a month and talk about a book, and it's fun. And I'll tell you this too, straight up honest. Like, and my daughter laughed at me when I said I was starting a book club. I hate to read. And one of my goals in 2019 was to force myself to do something that I don't like to do because I know it makes me better, right?
So
We
get
all
out your
know that like reading books, it makes you better, especially if you're picking the right ones that help you be motivated and help you grow and help you set goals and do those right things. It affects your mindset. So like, and Robin Hayes was one of the first people I reached out to, and I'm like, all right, we are a group of motivated people. We want to read some fun ones, but we want something that are going to help us grow and really set goals and do those kind of things. And shockingly, Robin came back with like 50 books for us, and that's why I love her. But yeah. But I mean, I hated. Now I'm going to say that I hated to read, but I was like, you know what? I need to do this because I know I can grow through reading books, and I can connect with others and share what they're getting out of it. So it's not just my point of view. So my goal in that wasn't closed loans. My goal is personal growth and putting a group together because I like to be part of a tribe, and putting that group together. And oh, by the way, it's already resulted in 1 sale. And everybody in there knows what I do. And that's just how it happens. So I mean, I thought of you with your book club or your Bible group or whatever, letting them know what you do and building on that.
All right, so
Last
connect
step.
the dots.
Yeah.
If you draw a line from your allied resource to all of the activities that you think match that resource, basically, you could turn this page over and just put dates.
Yes.
And put this
I
in your
thought
back
about that
pocket. This is your
after I-
2020 business plan.
Yeah. I actually
It
thought
really
about
is-
it after I
really
printed
can
it.
be that simple. And mine's really that simple. It's just that it's on a computer screen.
Yeah.
But it's that simple.
Said no computers.
No,
Now,
that's for me.
I did it the opposite. I took the activity and thought, where do I want that to go to? And again, just drew the lines. But I actually thought of that too after I wrote this out and printed it last night. I printed it this morning. I was like, this goes nowhere if we don't put it on a schedule. So, and I didn't mean to be like that way with Facebook, but if it's intentional and it's on a schedule, yeah. Like these things, if we just leave it at this, nothing happens, right? Oh, we're going to do this stuff. When are we going to do it? And like on this exact board, I sit like with my realtors when I sit down and we talk about like our plan. I can't tell you how many times after we did this, we sit down and write January, February, March, April, May. And then we're like, okay, if we're going to do a subdivision sale in April, we're going to pass out the flyers and door knock it in March. So now we're in front of them twice, right? So we just and we filled the whole calendar, 33 touches.
Yep.
But if you don't put dates to those activities, they just don't happen.
All right, 11 o'clock. Questions? Ahas?
I have lots of questions. So, like, for your big events,
Let's do one at a time.
Okay. All right, I'll split it out. Do you have like a percentage of revenue that you hold out to fund those things, or do you have like a bucket, a budget thing that you just fill?
Great question. So I'm just going to rattle some numbers. Our VIP party
Yeah.
is probably under $800, and that's with paying a musician, a bartender.
That's not bad.
A DJ.
Yeah, but I do get contribution from some of my preferred vendors, like my lender, my title company,
So
etc.
you can underwrite much of the event.
Oh my gosh,
With
yeah.
partners.
Yes.
Just
I'm
like
a big
sponsorship.
component
If
of
you're not-
that.
by
Like
the
if
way,
you're not using
footnote,
it.
if you're not doing that, you need to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're, I'm going to say, a $2 million producer or higher, you can do it easily.
Yeah.
Call me if you have questions. So the VIP party, our breakfast with Santa this year,
Cheap.
$500.
Yeah. Yes.
We didn't even cook this
We-
year. It was all done for us. We just showed up,
Yeah.
decorated our backdrop. We let people take their own pictures, and I don't know, we had 100 or something, or 50, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Great turnout. One year we had over 300. By the way, more is not better, less is more.
What made the difference?
Less is
Why
more
did you
intimate.
have so many more one year and not the other year if you do this every
We
year?
had
Because
it.
I went absolutely gangbusters with my marketing, advertising, and direct mail and personal invitations. And
We had it in a
was
subdivision
insanity.
also. So like again, if your subdivision has a clubhouse, oh my God, I want to schedule events there.
Yeah.
Because that subdivision, so we did the Pancakes with Santa in the subdivision clubhouse. So
Everybody
all
in
the
the
neighbors
subdivision
came.
came.
So not
All
only
the
were our
grandparents.
client base coming, but all the parents and kids could walk over to it
Yeah.
in their pajamas because we made it a pajama party.
The event, or
And
just, you just turn around
no.
and run?
Yeah, and we had like 300 people show up, and that time, I mean, I think our total cost was probably no more than 500 either.
Like, don't get me wrong, that was cool.
Yeah, but it was
right? Like,
too many
oh,
to connect
300
with.
people liked me.
With the
You
experience.
don't want to do that.
Only temporarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100 people, like some of these VIP events, 50 people, even 20 people is fine. Just depends on the venue.
Yeah.
I don't even think we do anything that costs more than about $500. Like my
Yeah.
total SOI plan, now it's going to be a little different this year because of some EDDM and some other little tweaks we're doing. So this year we're targeting more, but probably spending more money on some higher touch type things. But that's for a different class.
And when we talk about this plan being catered towards you, it needs to meet your budget too, John. So to that,
yeah.
So, but that is like when we set this plan and when you set your plan in place and you put some dates around it, that's the very next step is how much is this going to cost me and who can I share it with, right? So, I mean, you should be using your partners and most of us have money to spend on these kind of things. You know, the title companies, the inspection companies, home warranty companies, they want to feel more tied to you, so they like doing those things. And if you have enough people pitching in and you're not asking all the time, it's an easy ask. And it's a shared expense.
Here's something that I do. I'm just throwing this in there. So everybody knows I make the full size MLB bats, and they get signed, and I auction them off and whatever. But has everybody seen my souvenir bats? Okay, so I make these souvenir baseball bats, and then I actually send them to a friend of mine that actually lasers in the bat my logo. And I have 15 or 20 of them in my truck all the time. So just a couple weeks ago, I was driving through this neighborhood, and don't worry, I wasn't weird, I wasn't creepy. But there actually were 3 kids out in the yard, and their grandpa was sitting over in a lawn chair. I pulled over, rolled down my window, and I handed all 3 kids of those bats.
Oh, that's cool.
Didn't talk to the grandparent. No, they don't know me from Adam. But there are 3 bats in that home right now that have my laser engraver in them.
And the parents are like, where the hell did you get these things?
Right.
So when
Why are you breaking everything?
Quit hating your brother, yeah.
buyers, and whether or not, like I just have them in my truck all the time.
Yeah.
So when I'm meeting up with buyers and they show up with kids, they get a bat. Like, look, you get a Zillow lead, whatever your lead is, and you're not already in high touch, you're not a have met with them, you want to shore that relationship up, hand something to the kid. And all of that stuff is my time. Like my marketing budget now,
Yeah. It's not. This is not
It's
expensive to
maybe-
do.
it's
That's
a few
one of the
$1,000
fun
a
things
year.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
to do 200,000 bucks GCI. And by the way, and here's the best part for me, for where I'm at in my life, the best part of all of that isn't the money, because I don't care about the money. I have to have a certain part of it, but I'm at a point now to where it just kind of takes care of itself. Like I go to every single one. I can tell you I have been to 97% of every single one of my kids' school activities since the day they were born.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Since they were born.
Yeah.
For me, it's about family time. I don't miss family time.
And I don't know if everybody knows what he's talking about with the bats, but again, this, make it you. When he says he makes baseball bats, like on a wooden lathe out of a block of wood, like he spins it
Oh, yeah,
and
from
like,
scratch.
yeah, it's a baseball bat. And we're actually doing one of our customer appreciation events this year at his house, having a little barbecue with the garage door open, making bats right around the opening day of
I'm just
baseball.
inviting any moms and dads that want to bring their kids over to make their own bat.
And the kid makes the bat.
Right there in my garage, I've got.
So
4
they help
lathes.
spin it. They can, and you're like so good with kids, but like he usually gets the kids up on the stand with safety glasses on and safety glass and stuff. But like he'll slow the lathe down, and they can like take the markers and pens and like color, like so they can design the bat with different colored stripes. I mean, he's drawn Hello Kitty on these bats. He's drawn Batman, and then they put the striping on. So again, it's really unique to him, and our customers are all welcome to come and get have their kid help make their own bat for free. Like super unique, super cool.
Can you talk about, and if this is off topic, I can catch you later.
That never happens with us.
Well, can you talk about the nature of your business relationship? Like how you, if I was to go try and find my own Donna Mitchell, because Donna is taken.
It's impossible. She's a unicorn.
No, that's just it though.
And I don't specifically mean Donna because I like Donna.
Yes.
But you know what I mean. How can you just speak to that at all?
Actually, yeah. So can I start from the beginning?
Sure.
Okay.
What time is it?
Yeah, it is,
What
but I'll
time?
make it fast. But it's a very personal story. For me, it is.
Okay.
And it is past 11. I don't want to be rude for your time, so if you need to get up and walk away, fine. Totally understand.
All right, so yeah.
So when I was 29 years old, I'm 44 now, so it's been a minute. I just kind of had this man in the mirror moment. Like literally, I was standing in the mirror in my bathroom.
Just gonna get weird.
I'm going to leave the weird parts out.
Oh my gosh.
I promise to leave the weird parts out. Anyways, I was making really bad health choices for my body, and I was just not in a good place mentally, emotionally, certainly not fit. When you're not in a good place mentally and emotionally, you know where it shows up? It shows up on the outside. It shows up on your skin. It shows up in your hair. It shows up everywhere. Whether you want it to or not, it just does.
Yeah.
And so I decided to join the local Arnold Rec Center boot camp.
Yep.
And that is where I met Donna Mitchell. We both happened to start the same class, same day, in January 2006? 2005? Somewhere in there. And so that's, I don't know. I don't even know why we became friends, but we did.
Oh, I'll tell you. So
Hold on.
it's January, so they had us running in the gym. So we're running circles around the inside of the gym.
That probably was not right.
And here's Rob runs up to me, right? And he's like, "You're new here. What are you doing?" And within
That
the
sounds
first,
like me.
right?
Yeah, sure, we're going.
Within how you doing? How you doing? No, within the first
I was
5
married
minutes.
at the time. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
within the first 5 minutes, he had asked, why I joined boot camp, what I did, and at that time I worked for Commerce Bank, and it was so funny because within 5 minutes, So, how many people would you say are in your inner circle that you know and love you and would and give you and would trust you to give
Yeah,
you
that does sound
business,
like me.
or would trust somebody that you referred for business?
I'm not shy about that kind of thing.
So, and he asked you to where do you work? What do you do? Oh my gosh, it sounds like you know a lot of. Let me ask you something. Who's your inner circle? How many people? And within 5 minutes of running around the gym, our conversation came to that. So.
Business planning, end up over jogging.
Now, I will say, just, I don't really do that anymore because I honestly, when I first got started, I probably overdid that. In fact, at one point, I was at a Christmas party and I overheard the wife of a gentleman that was a past coworker of mine. She had a little too much to drink and didn't realize that my back was to her and she was standing right here. Like, she was slamming me.
Oh no.
And I'm like, yeah, I might want to ease up on the personal phone calls and the ask of referrals. But I still do it today. I've just learned how to, just make it look more like
He
a moonwalk
finessed it
rather
just
than
fine.
breakdance.
Yeah, he finessed it just fine because he was asking what
But
I
you
did,
and I had
and
matching personalities.
we did.
So
Yes,
it
we're
worked.
kind of to the point, people.
Great question. What else? And then basically the relationship just evolved. I begged her to become a realtor.
Yeah.
Because she was at Commerce Bank for like 20 years
Yeah.
as the number one most profitable branch manager for all of Commerce Bank and all of St. Louis. I begged her to become a realtor. It almost worked. She became a loan officer. So
I
that's
don't
the rest
have
of
I
the-
don't
as
have
Paul
the
Harvey says,
patience
that's
that
the
you
rest
guys
of the
do.
story. What else?
But pick your partners like you pick your business plan. You're picking your customers by doing this, right? Pick your partners the same way. Pick your partners that have your best interests in mind, that want to work with you, that are dedicated to you, that you like. Same kind of deal is what I would say to.
And
further
by the
answer
way,
that.
I don't have the monopoly on Donna. She has other, like Catherine Jewell, Dee Dee Hill, April.
Yeah,
April.
Jamie, lots of fun realtors
Jamie.
that I love to work with.
Jamie Walsh. Everybody loves
Oh,
her.
right. She's
So,
Fireball.
yeah. So I'm one of Donna's.
I know what you meant.
All right, we're going to wrap this up.
Spitfire.
Because it's way past 11.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much for coming.
Thank you.
If you want to see what I'm all about, just follow me on the socials. I do a lot of video. By the way, my producer is in the back of the room. His name
Dun
is
dun
Ben Brown.
dun. Applause.
If you want to know how I do most of what I do on the socials and video, it's because of this Jedi Master right here. Feel free to go talk to him if you want to. Thank you for coming.
Thank
See
you.
you next
Thank
time.
you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, real quick, I should do this.
I don't have any referrals for you.
But would you like to become part of the Marcos Douglas team?
When is the next Empower Hour? Is it next
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday?
Yes.
9?
Yes.
9, yes.
Okay, so this week was kind of the anomaly. So next Wednesday, 9 a.m. And what's the topic? Who's going to be here? Is Brian here?
Brian, every Wednesday. Starting
Okay.
next
I
Wednesday.
think it's 9:30 though. Last week was 9:30.
Next week it's 9.
What's the topic?
Thank you guys.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.